Hello everyone, welcome to the today's lecture. Today we are going to discuss about the urinary regulation. So in this lecture we are going to discuss about the regulation of GFR, glomerulus filtration rate. Okay, whenever we are talking about the regulation, that time we need to concern about the internal regulation as well as external regulation. यहाँ पर हम ये बात करेंगे कि जो भी हमारा रेगुलेशन है वो किस तरह से यूरिनरी सिस्टम खुद अपने आप में किस तरह से कंट्रोल करता है और जो यूरिनरी सिस्टम के अलावा बॉडी के दूसरे ऑर्गन्स हैं वो किस तरह से किसको कंट्रोल करते हैं. ओके एवरीवन, नाउ लुकिंग ऑन द यूरिनरी रेगुलेशन ऑफ जीएफआर. सो यूरिनरी रेगुलेशन यहाँ पर इंटरनल और एक्सटर्नल दो चीज़ें हैं. आपको मैं बता दूँ यहाँ पर क्या है. वी हैव अ टू काइंड ऑफ थिंग. सो द फर्स्ट वन इज internal, okay, internal, and second one is external. Clear? Now internal में दो चीज़ें हैं. internal में वो कौन कौन सी चीज़ें. फर्स्ट वन इज मायोजेनिक मैकेनिज्म. फर्स्ट वन इज मायोजेनिक मैकेनिज्म. ओके, एंड सेकंड वन इज ट्यूब्यूलो ग्लोमेरुलर फीडबैक मैकेनिज्म. ट्यूब्यूलो glomerulus feedback mechanism. Okay, feedback mechanism. Clear? These are the two mechanisms for internal mechanism, and the external mechanism are, now look at here, the external mechanism. So these external mechanism are, the third one we can say, okay, so hormonal control, and the fourth one is basically the neural control. Okay, so these are the four mechanisms through which we are controlling the things. Clear? Now look at here how we are controlling by these mechanisms. So first we are going to discuss about the internal mechanism, means myogenic mechanism, and then tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. So first, myogenic mechanism, the word itself describing itself. Okay, so myogenic mechanism is myo means muscles. Myo means muscles, how muscles are controlling the GFR. Okay, now look at here, this is our whole urinary system. This is the glomerulus and Bowman capsule region. Then this is the PCT. Okay, this area is basically a PCT, and then loop of Henle, and then this area is DCT and collecting duct. Okay, so these are the area, and this is basically our afferent arterioles. Okay, afferent arterioles, and this is basically efferent arterioles. Okay, so first we are looking how myogenic mechanisms work. Okay, so now look at here, suppose there is an increase in the blood pressure. Okay, so if blood pressure is increasing, what happen? There is an increase in the glomerulus hydrostatic pressure. If blood pressure, suppose like this is afferent arteriole, in afferent arteriole we are saying that BP is increasing. If BP goes up, then what happen? Glomerulus hydrostatic pressure goes up. Okay, and glomerular hydrostatic pressure goes up means there is increase in GFR. Okay, now this GFR is increased. Now we try to control this increased GFR. Okay, so how our body, our urinary system control it? Now look at here, this is the increase in the BP, and these are the endothelial cells of these afferent arterioles, and these are basically a smooth muscle. Nearby this area of afferent arteriole. Okay, now look at here, I am drawing here a bigger picture of these muscles. Okay, so these are basically, this is the smooth muscles. Okay, now look at here, whenever there is a high blood pressure, so high blood pressure means there is an increased amount of the flow, and what happened, this flow may putting pressure on the wall of afferent arterioles. Okay, this pressure putting pressure on the afferent arteriole. Now due to this pressure, the arteriole also putting pressure on this area. Okay, so this smooth muscles having stretching, Now look at here, I am drawing this, zooming this diagram over here. What happened? Look at here, this smooth muscles wall may feel stretching. Okay, this smooth muscle wall, what they feeling is stretching just because of higher blood pressure. Okay, now on the wall there are some channels. These channels are known as a sodium channel. Okay, so what happened whenever there is an increase in the stretching? So what happened? Due to stretching, there is opening in the sodium channel. So due to opening, the sodium may move inside. Okay, this is the sodium move inside the cell. Clear? Now what happened? Within the cell, there is sarcoplasmic reticulum. There is a what? Sarcoplasmic reticulum. We know that sarcoplasmic reticulum is a storage point for calcium. So what happened? Whenever sodium ion moving inside and there is an increase in the threshold, whenever sodium ion reach up to the threshold, so they reach on the threshold. Okay, so they reach up to the threshold. So what they do now, they activate the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Now due to activation of sarcoplasmic reticulum, now calcium is released. From sarcoplasmic reticulum. Okay, due to release in the calcium, what happened? Calcium will bind with the calmodulin. Okay, now calmodulin, further what it will do, it bind with the myosin light chain kinase, MLCK. Okay, now this myosin will act on these fibers. Okay, and it further do contraction. It further do contraction. Clear? So ultimately it cause what? It cause contraction. Clear? So this is, I am writing here, contraction. So there is a contraction in the smooth muscle. Now this smooth muscle are contracting in this area. And due to contraction, what happened? There is a decrease in the blood flow. Okay, now just look at this. What is the earlier condition? In the earlier condition, what happened? There was a high amount of blood flow. Okay, and in the next condition, there is a contraction in this area. This is the second condition. So there is a less amount of blood flow. Okay, less amount of blood flow. So due to less amount of blood flow, what happened? There is a decrease in blood pressure. Okay, here the muscle cell are contracting this area. So due to contraction, there is a little amount of blood flow in this direction. Okay, this direction there is a less amount of blood flow. Due to decrease in BP, okay, BP decrease may cause decrease in GHB and then ultimately decrease in GFR. Okay, so here our GFR was increased and then finally GFR goes down. Okay everyone, now just look at here what happened in the opposite condition. Suppose our second condition, this is our first condition. Now suppose if there is a second condition, now suppose if there is a decrease in the blood pressure, there is a decrease in glomerulus hydrostatic pressure. So in second condition, what happened? Decrease in GHP. And in second condition, if GHP is decreasing, then what happened? GFR is decreasing. So now body try to increase the GFR or reaching it to the optimum level. This is the aim of body now. This is the aim of urinary system now. So what urinary system will do, what happen if there is a decrease in the BP? Now look at here, decrease in BP means there is a less hydrostatic pressure. Due to less hydrostatic pressure, there is a less amount of stretching. Now look at here, if there is a less amount of stretching means remove this area, okay, remove them, clear. Now no stretching, okay, if no stretching, okay, no stretching, okay, when we are having no stretching, whenever there is a decrease in the BP of afferent arterioles, okay, no stretching on smooth muscle, okay. Now what happened, due to no stretching on the smooth muscle, the sodium ion channel may close. So sodium will not move into this area. Now threshold, it will not reach up to its threshold. So threshold will not reach, then calcium ion may not release, okay, calcium not release, then what happened, it will not bind to the calmodulin. If calmodulin not bind, then it is not activate myosin light chain kinase, and then myosin light chain kinase do not cause actin myosin contraction. Okay, so contraction is not occur. If contraction not occur, then what happen? There is relaxation. There is what? Relaxation. Okay, so what happen? There is a relaxation. Due to relaxation, what happen? Now look at the earlier condition. Whenever BP was low, what happened? This is the condition, less amount of blood flow, okay. But what happened after relaxation? This is the condition of relaxation, okay. So in that condition, what happened? There is relaxation in the muscle wall, okay. Afferent arteriole is increasing the diameter. Now high amount of blood is flowing. Blood flow increase, blood flow what? Increase. So due to increase in blood flow, there is increase in hydrostatic pressure. Hydrostatic pressure goes up, then there is an increase in GFR. Okay, so what happened in the second end? Blood pressure was down, okay, and due to blood pressure goes down, GFR goes decrease. Now what happened? What body do itself? What urinary system do itself? It increase the GFR. Okay. So a quick recap, ये जो भी हम लोगों ने पढ़ा इसका मैं क्विक रिकैप देता हूँ आप लोगों को। क्या हुआ था पहली कंडीशन में? सबसे पहले ब्लड प्रेशर बढ़ा था, ओके। मायोजेनिक मैकेनिज्म में क्या हुआ था वही मैं आप लोगों को बता रहा हूँ। ब्लड प्रेशर, फर्स्ट कंडीशन हमारी क्या थी? ब्लड प्रेशर बढ़ रहा था। उस कंडीशन के अंदर क्या हो रहा था? बहुत ज़्यादा हाइड्रोस्टैटिक प्रेशर था। तो हाइड्रोस्टैटिक प्रेशर जो एफरेंट आर्टेरियोल्स है उस पर क्या कर रहा था? प्रेशर पुट कर रहा था। प्रेशर पुट होने से क्या हो रहा था? वो प्रेशर यहाँ जो एफरेंट आर्टेरियोल्स पर स्मूथ मसल अटैच्ड है उसकी वॉल पर प्रेशर पड़ रहा था। अगर उसकी वॉल पर प्रेशर पड़ेगा तो वो क्या करेगा? इसको स्ट्रेच करेगा। प्रेशर क्या करेगा? इसको स्ट्रेच करेगा। ओके, जो हमारी फर्स्ट कंडीशन थी उसमें क्या हो रहा था? प्रेशर पड़ रहा था। दिस इज अबाउट द फर्स्ट कंडीशन। ओके, सो यहां पर प्रेशर पड़ रहा था। ओके, नाउ लुक एट द प्रेशर पड़ने से क्या होता है? सोडियम आयन चैनल ओपन हो गए। सोडियम आयन चैनल ओपन हो गए, थ्रेशोल्ड तक रीच कर गए। इन्होंने सार्कोप्लाज्मिक रेटिकुलम को बोला कि यू कैन ओपन योर कैल्शियम स्टोरेज। यहाँ से कैल्शियम रिलीज हुआ, ये कैल्शियम बाइंड हुआ कैल्मोडोलिन से। इसने मायोसिन लाइट चेन काइनेज को एक्टिवेट किया एंड मायोसिन लाइट चेन काइनेज ने एक्टिन मायोसिन पर एक्ट करके कॉन्ट्रैक्शन रिएक्शन लिया है। कॉन्ट्रैक्शन रिएक्शन लाने से क्या हुआ? ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हुआ। कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होने से क्या हो गया? ब्लड फ्लो जो है वो इंक्रीज हो गया, सॉरी ब्लड फ्लो डिक्रीज हो गया, ब्लड प्रेशर डिक्रीज हो गया, जीएचपी डिक्रीज हो गया और ग्लोमेरुलर फिल्ट्रेशन रेट वो क्या हो गया? डिक्रीज हो गया, जो कि हमारा इंक्रीज हुआ था। ओके, अगर जस्ट हम अपोजिट रिएक्शन की बात करें तो यहाँ पर देखो ब्लड प्रेशर, सेकेंड कंडीशन में ब्लड प्रेशर डिक्रीज है। ब्लड प्रेशर डिक्रीज है तो उस केस में क्या होगा? लेस अमाउंट ऑफ ब्लड फ्लो इज देयर। ओके, तो यहाँ पर स्ट्रेचिंग नहीं होगी तो सोडियम अंदर नहीं आएंगे और सोडियम थ्रेशोल्ड पर रीच नहीं करेंगे, सार्कोप्लाज्मिक रेटिकुलम कैल्शियम रिलीज नहीं करेगा, कैल्वेडोनिन से बाइंड नहीं होगा और अल्टीमेटली कॉन्ट्रैक्शन नहीं होगा। कॉन्ट्रैक्शन नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा, रिलैक्सेशन होगा और ब्लड फ्लो इंक्रीज हो गया, जीएचपी बढ़ गया और जीएफआर इंक्रीज हो गया। क्लियर एवरीवन? सो दिस इज अबाउट द मायोजेनिक मैकेनिज्म. Now moving on the second mechanism, that is tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. Now look at here what happened in this mechanism. The name itself suggests that there is a role of tubular region and glomerulus region. Okay, there is a role of tubular region, glomerulus region, and it is a feedback mechanism. Okay, so what happened whenever we are just discussing about the first condition, if there is a high GFR, okay, so if high GFR condition, then what happen? High GFR means there is a lot of amount of glomerular filtrate reaching here, means there is increase in the sodium ion concentration as well as increase in the chloride ion concentration as well as increase in the H2O level. Okay, so now what happen if high amount of glomerular filtration rate is reaching in this area? What happen in the PCT and in the loop of Henle? What happen? They are less able to reabsorb sodium and potassium. Okay, because there is a high amount of salt ions. Okay, so their PCT as well as loop of Henle are not able to collect most of the sodium and chloride ion. So what happened? Less amount of sodium is reaching in this direction. Okay, less amount of sodium is sodium and chloride are reaching in this direction. Clear? So what happened? Sodium and chloride ion move in, more and more sodium and chloride become more in this area. Okay, here also there is a, previously we are getting less amount of sodium and chloride, but due to increase in GFR now we are getting more and more sodium and chloride. So this area is not able to absorb whole of these sodium and chloride ion. So less sodium and chloride are reabsorbed. So now look at here, high amount of sodium reaching in this direction, high amount of sodium and chloride reaching in this direction. Now these are our macula densa cell. These are what? Macula densa cell. Okay, these are what? Macula densa cell. So this cell now work to control the high GFR. How they control? Now as we know, on these cells we have a channel, sodium and chloride channel. We have a what? Sodium and chloride symporter. Okay, so sodium move in this direction as well as chloride move in this direction. Sodium move here and chloride move here. Now chloride further move by another channel, chloride channel and move in this direction. But what happened with the sodium? Now sodium will collect over here, and generating a threshold potential. Okay, it is generating what? Threshold potential. Clear? Due to generation of threshold potential, it able to generate ATP. It able to generate what? It able to generate ATP. Okay, clear? This ATP ultimately move in this direction and convert into adenosine. Okay, now adenosine, what it will do? These are our mesangial cells. Okay, now adenosine will bind. These mesangial cells have a receptor for adenosine. Okay, So this is adenosine. Now adenosine will bind on this area. What happened here? Adenosine will activate these cells. Okay, it activate G protein couple receptor. It activate GPCR. Okay, it activate GPCR, and then further it releases calcium. Further it releases what? Calcium. Clear? Now due to release of calcium, now these mesangial cell having gap junction with these juxtaglomerulus apparatus, or we can say juxtaglomerular cells. So now they are making connections with these cells. Now they are making connection with these cells. Okay, so now calcium is moving in this direction of, calcium is moving in juxtaglomerulus apparatus. Now juxtaglomerular cells having various vesicles, and in these vesicles they having renin. So now this calcium will activate these vesicles and it merge it with the efferent arteriole. So there is a merging of this area, and here there is a release of renin. There is a release of a chemical that is known as a renin. Okay, this chemical is known as a renin. Clear? Now the other thing is what happened. This calcium also reach in these smooth muscles. Okay, and now this calcium also contract. As we know, calcium, the work of the calcium is contraction. So it contract this area. It contract due to a smooth muscle contraction. There is a contraction in this area. Okay, due to contraction, what happened? There is a decrease amount of the blood flow. There is a decrease in the, it cause what? Contraction. It cause contraction, and due to contraction, what happened? There is a decrease in the blood flow. Okay, and there is a decrease in GHP, and there is a decrease in GFR. So what we discussed earlier, what happened? There was an increase in the GFR, and how this calcium decreased the GFR. Now just look at here what happened with the renin. Now what is the function of renin? Okay, so look at here. Now renin is moving in this direction. Renin is reaching in here. Now what happened? Here we have a lever. Okay, here we have what? Lever. Okay, so this is what? Lever, and lever has angiotensinogen. This is lever. Okay, and lever has a angiotensinogen. Okay, now angiotensinogen is reaching in this blood vessels, and in the presence of angiotensinogen, the renin convert angiotensinogen in angiotensin 1. Okay, now within here we have a what? This is our lungs. Okay, these are what? This is, I am drawing a crude diagram. This is our lungs, and lungs releasing ACE, lungs releasing angiotensin converting enzyme. Now this enzyme will act on angiotensin 1, and angiotensin 1 is convert into angiotensin 2. Okay, now this angiotensin, what this angiotensin do? Okay, so now just look at here. This angiotensin act on this area. I am just drawing a rough diagram over here. What it will do, just look at here. This is our area. Okay, this is the area. Now this is the glomerulus area. Okay, in the glomerulus area, what we have? These are this is the cells. Okay, now within glomerulus, okay, now there is a mesangial cells. These are mesangial cells. So now mesangial cells are covering this area in this way, okay. Now just look at here, the mesangial cells are covering this area in this way. So there are so many mesangial cells. Now angiotensin act on these mesangial cells. Angiotensin act on these mesangial cells, okay. So now what it will do, angiotensin contract these mesangial cells. Angiotensin contract these mesangial cells, okay. It contract these mesangial cells. Now mesangial cells are contracting this area. Mesangial cells are contracting this area. Due to contraction in this area, there is a decrease in the surface area. There is a decrease in the surface area. Now there is a decrease in surface area. What I am trying to write here, just look at here. Due to contraction, what happened? Decrease in surface area of this region, glomerulus region, okay. So due to surface area of glomerulus is decreasing, due to decrease in surface area, there is a decrease in GFR. There is a decrease in, ultimately there is a decrease in GFR, okay. So this is how angiotensin act by its action on mesangial cell. Now mesangial cells are contracting and there is a decrease in the surface area of glomerulus filters and there is a decrease in the GFR. So angiotensin also help in the increased GFR to decrease GFR. Okay. So now look at here, we discuss about the increased GFR condition. Suppose if the condition is opposite to it, this is our first condition, okay, and suppose if GFR is decreased. So what happened, if GFR is decreased, then there is a less amount of sodium, and filtrate reaching over here. So I am writing over this condition, I am writing over here, okay. So less amount of sodium and chloride reaching in this area in the PCT, okay. Less amount of sodium and chloride reaching in this area, okay. So now there is a total good amount of absorption. If good amount of absorption, then less amount of sodium also, sodium and chloride, less amount of sodium and chloride reaching here, okay. So there is a less amount of sodium and chloride reaching here, okay, clear everyone. So sodium and chloride are now less. So there is a less amount of potential generated over here, sodium. Then there is a no generation of ATP. Then there is a no conversion of adenosine. If adenosine is not converted, then calcium is not released. Calcium is not released, then calcium is not reaching in the smooth muscle. So now the cells are relaxed. Now the cells are relaxed. If cells are relaxed, then there is an increase in the blood flow. If there is an increase in the blood flow, then what happened? GHP increase, okay. If the cells are relaxed, I write here, if there is a relaxation, then what happened? There is an increase in blood flow, okay. Blood flow increasing, the GHP increasing, okay, and it increased the GFR, okay. So I discussed this, we having what earlier happened, GFR in earlier stage, what happened? GFR decreased, now GFR is increased, okay everyone. So this is what tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism, okay. Now just look at the third external condition. External condition, when it activate, internal condition are controlled by the urinary system and the external condition are activate or controlled by the other system of the body like heart and brain, okay, central nervous system. So they control the other mechanisms. So the first one is the hormonal mechanism in this condition. So the first one point I already discussed, the hormone. So in the hormone we have what? In the hormone we have a renin. We have what? Renin, and another hormone we have a what? atrial natriuretic peptide. Atrial natriuretic peptide. So renin, we already discussed about the renin. Okay, we already discussed about the renin. Renin is convert angiotensin into angiotensin 1 and angiotensin 1 convert into angiotensin 2, and this angiotensin 2 act on mesangial cell and it contract and due to contraction there is a decrease in the surface area of glomerulus, there is a decrease in the GFR. Okay, so it was the case of when renin act, whenever there is an increase in the GFR, whenever there is an increase in the GFR. Now suppose if there is a decrease in the GFR, ANP, when atrial natriuretic peptide work, suppose if the condition of GFR is less, when it act GFR is less, then what happen within our heart? So I am drawing a heart here. Just look at here what happened. This is our heart. This is our heart. Okay. So now on the heart we have they are cells and they are blood vessels which are releasing what? Atrial natriuretic peptide. This atrial natriuretic peptide, what it will do? It directly act on these mesangial cells. It directly act on these mesangial cells and it relax them. It relax these mesangial cells. It cause relaxation of mesangial cell. Okay, due to relaxation of mesangial cells, now there is increase in the surface area of mesangial cell. Surface area of mesangial cells. There is increase in the surface area. If surface area goes up, then what happen? It get more area to filter the filtrate. Okay, so this area got up, surface area if increase, then it got so much area. Now they increase the GFR. If too much filtrate is there, then it increase the GFR. So in the condition of decrease of GFR, ANP will activate and it increase the GFR. Okay, so this is how hormonal control we are controlling by two hormone. First one is the renin and second one is atrial natriuretic peptide. Renin is working in the increased GFR condition and ANP acting on decreased GFR condition, and both hormone controlling by putting the GFR on the optimum condition. Okay everyone, now we are discussing neural mechanism. Neural is how they control by the central nervous system. So just look at here, we have a brain over here, okay, and this is the medulla we have over here. Now what happened in the, now just look at here, I am drawing heart over here. Okay, and this heart, on this heart we have a what? These are the aorta, and on aorta we have a connection, we have a what? Baroreceptor. These are what? Baroreceptor. Okay, now these baroreceptor having a neural connection. These baroreceptor have a neural connection, and these connection ultimately having connection with the vagus nerve, as well as they have a connection with the another nerve. Which through they are connecting. Nerve are connected with the medulla. Okay, so they are connected with the medulla, and this area is basically a vasomotor center. This area is a vasomotor center. Okay, so which also able to control the cardiac activity. Okay, which able to sense the decrease and increase in the blood pressure. So whenever there is a decrease in the blood pressure. Baroreceptor are sensing the pressure, so they give information to the vagus nerve as well as these other nerves, and these other nerves finally activate vasomotor center. They sending their message to vasomotor center, and this vasomotor center, what it will do, it activate, ultimately it sending the message, or it generate a potential to activate the alpha receptor. It activate the alpha 1 receptor present. These alpha 1 receptor are present over here. These alpha 1 receptor are present on the smooth muscle. I'm just drawing over here. If I'm making a larger drawing of smooth muscle, then look at here. This is again I'm drawing a smooth muscle, and these are the what, alpha 1 receptor. Okay, these are what, alpha 1 receptor. Okay, now alpha 1 receptor activate G protein couple receptor. By binding of alpha 1 receptor, okay, this activation generally release norepinephrine. Okay, noradrenaline, norepinephrine, they are releasing. So norepinephrine bind with this alpha 1 receptor. Due to binding of norepinephrine, what it will cause, it releases calcium. It releases what, calcium over here, and due to calcium release, there is contraction. Okay, so due to contraction of the smooth muscle, there is a squeezing in this area. Okay, and due to squeezing in this area, there is a decrease in the blood flow, and if there is a decrease in the blood flow, there is a decrease in the GHP, and there is a decrease in GFR. Okay everyone, so this is the action of alpha 1 receptor. Okay, these smooth muscle cells also having another receptor. That receptor is known as a beta receptor. This receptor is known as a beta 1 receptor. Okay, this beta 1 receptor also activate, and this beta receptor further activate calcium, and then calcium further release renin. And through renin, we know what renin will do. We know how renin works by itself. Okay, so here in the sympathetic nervous system activation, how neural mechanism is controlling? Neural mechanism is controlling by this way. On the heart, we have a baroreceptor, and these baroreceptor further sensing the pressure, low blood pressure or high blood pressure, they are sensing here. They sending their message to the vasomotor center. Now vasomotor center releasing norepinephrine. They are releasing what? Norepinephrine, noradrenaline. Both norepinephrine, noradrenaline are binding the receptor present on the smooth muscle. The receptors are alpha 1 receptor and beta 1 receptor. Okay, so what happened with the alpha 1 receptor? Alpha 1 receptor, after binding on norepinephrine, it cause contraction. By releasing of the calcium, and due to contraction there is a decrease in the GFR. Okay, so this is the mechanism by alpha 1. And the second mechanism, they norepinephrine, noradrenaline also bind with the beta receptor, and beta receptor, by binding with the beta receptor, it help in the release of the renin. And I already discussed the action of the renin. Okay everyone, now just one more thing that I forgot to tell you in the tubuloglomerular feedback. Okay, so macular denser cells, okay, macular denser cells also releasing prostaglandin E2, and they also releasing nitric oxide. Okay, so prostaglandin E2 and nitric oxide is a vasodilatory substance. Nitric oxide is a vasodilatory substance. Okay, so both of these will act on these. Suppose I am drawing here a smooth muscles. Okay, so prostaglandin and nitric oxide both opposing the contraction of, both inhibiting the contraction of smooth muscle. Okay, so both substances are causing what? Vasodilation. Nitric oxide causes vasodilation over here. Okay, nitric oxide causes vasodilation, so it opposing the contraction of smooth muscles. Okay, so by opposing the smooth muscle contraction, they are increasing the glomerular filtrate condition. Okay, they are increasing the blood flow because they are causing relaxation. So if there is a relaxation, then there is an increased amount of the blood flow, then increase amount of the GHP, okay, glomerular hydration, and it increase amount of the GFR. So just writing over here, in which condition nitric oxide and prostaglandin E2 work. Okay, I am just writing over here, just look at here, prostaglandin E2 and nitric oxide, when there is a decrease in the GFR, whenever there is a decrease in the GFR, so in decreased GFR condition, macula densa cells are activated and they release prostaglandin E2 and nitric oxide. So these cells further release nitric oxide and PGE2. Okay, nitric oxide cause what? Vasodilation of smooth muscles cells. Okay, and this vasodilation ultimately lead to the increase of GFR. Okay everyone, so this is how in the GFR condition फीडबैक मैकेनिज्म. तो होपफुली जो भी मैंने आज के लेक्चर में आपसे डिस्कस किया है वो आप लोगों को समझ में आया होगा. वट एवर द पॉइंट्स जो आप लोगों को समझ में नहीं आया वो आप कमेंट बॉक्स में लिखे, उनको मैं समझाने की कोशिश करूंगा. ओके, यहाँ पर मैंने आप लोगों के साथ में कुछ क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस किए हुए हैं रिलेटेड टू रेगुलेशन ऑफ GFR, और इस पर जो क्वेश्चन है वो काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंस रखते हैं कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जामिनेशंस में.
Hello everyone, now it's time for question number 1. How GFR is regulated by human body? A. Myogenic mechanism, B. Tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism, C. Hormonal mechanism, and D. All of these. Question number 2. If GFR increase, which of the following can decrease it to optimum level? A. Angiotensin second, B. Atrial natriuretic peptide, C. Both of these, and D. None of these. Question number 3. If GFR decrease, which of the following can increase it to optimum level? A. Angiotensin second, B. Atrial natriuretic peptide, C. Both of these, and D. None of these. Question number 4. Which cells of urinary system play important role in regulation of GFR? A. Macular densa cell, B. Juxtaglomerular cell, C. Mesangial cell, and D. All of these. Question number 5. How macular densa cells of urinary system play important role in regulation of GFR? A. By releasing of ATP and its conversion into adenosine, B. By releasing prostaglandin E2, C. By releasing nitric oxide, and D. All of these. So I already given answer of all of these question in my lecture, so go through with the lecture and answer in comment box.
तो उन क्वेश्चंस के आंसर आप कमेंट बॉक्स में लिखें और वीडियो को लाइक करें, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें.